there's so much business out there that I don't believe there's any competition or competitors really, because it's just all about, giving. Well, no, I'm just saying in general of like, I wouldn't even mind if someone else created another, digital marketing agency focusing on surgeons, so be it. There's so much business to go around, and it's all about trust and credibility that, it's just finding out those relationships that there's so much to go around that compares.
Yeah. Plus,
but anyway,
you're
so
first to market,
I didn't find.
So then you can just buy them out later.
Yeah, exactly.
That works too. Hey, that's a good strategy as well.
Build up your businesses and then we'll take you over. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey there. Welcome to the Gluten-Free Organic Thoughts podcast, where you are encouraged to express your natural thoughts and views through casual, meaningful conversations that hopefully can lead to learning and understanding new perspectives. To find out more info, visit www.gfOThoughts.com. Now, here are your hosts, Michael Wong and Robert Din. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another great episode of Gluten-Free Organic Podcast. My name is Michael, and always with me, Robert Din.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Today we have Jeremy Katz on with us. He's a online marketer, and he's gonna give us the scoop on how to get our SEOs up and get more viewers.
So Jeremy and I go way back. We met through one of my mutual friends. Actually, well, he's married to her. So, and I think Jeremy, how long have we known each other for now? What, 6 years?
Yeah, it's about 6 years now since I moved here in South Florida.
Time flies.
It's been fun. We've had a lot of fun adventures together.
That's for sure. So Jeremy and pretty much is married to my friend Natalie, and I think you said you've been in Florida for 6 years now, right? Wow, that's crazy. 6 years.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I started out in Miami, and I couldn't deal with it. They call that pretty much North Cuba. And I didn't speak Spanish at the time, and the traffic was just too bad. So I decided to just move north and settled here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I love it here, and I'm kind of a snowbird though. Like I love it here in the wintertime, but in the summertime, I like to kind of go and travel, get out, and go, to Europe and Minnesota, where I'm from, and just to get out of the heat.
Yeah, the heat is too much in Florida.
You're from Minnesota. What happened to the accent?
Yeah, Minnesota.
I still, you betcha, don't you know?
There we go. There we go. It comes out, right? It comes out when you're drunk too, probably.
Oh, especially when I'm drinking. Absolutely. Yeah, the boat, and you know that my O's are, oh, don't you know?
All right, so Jeremy, give us a little background for those.
Before we start, what are we drinking? What are we drinking, guys?
Good catch.
All right, Jeremy, what are you drinking?
So I gotta be healthy, so I just got back done with a golf trip in Orlando. And these are kind of my like crazy party friends, and they made me do shotguns for like 3 days in a row. Shotgunning beers. Like anytime anyone got birdies, you had to do a shotgun just to even the playing field. So
it was a lot of birdies.
I did more shotguns than I wanted to. I haven't shotgun since like college or right after. But so I gotta drink healthy. I'm going with a kombucha, watermelon flavor.
So you're cleansing your system.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't really do an alcoholic bevy again.
Well, speaking of healthy, I am drinking honey. What's called matcha tea latte with oat milk. So.
Honey matcha tea latte.
Yeah, I also add a little bit of ginger.
That sounds bougie.
I know.
It's not bougie.
It's tea, and then you add milk in to make it a latte.
Yeah, so I add oat milk to it, make a latte, and add a ginger powder to make it healthier. So
that is fancy. That is fancy.
It is not fancy.
Yeah.
But hey, Starbucks will sell this for $6, so
I mean, they might sell it for they might sell it for $8. I don't know.
Yeah.
Talking about being healthy, I am drinking some rosé as usual.
There you go. Rosé all day.
Yeah.
Did that say it's from 2012 too?
Yeah, 2012 Schramsberg.
That's awesome though.
Dang,
yeah.
That's fancy. It's like 10 years old almost.
That's true.
Wait, is that bottle plus or minus $50?
I do not know how much this bottle costs. It came in my friend's wine. He has a wine membership and he has it sent
Nice.
here. So then I take a bottle for storage fee.
Right, there we go.
So
Oh,
this
you
is one of
you
those.
just took the fanciest one.
He's got other ones that are fancy too. It's
Fancier,
not
probably.
yeah. So.
All right, so Jeremy, thanks for hopping up with us, and just and obviously you and I know each other very well, but for those who don't know, you give a little bit of some background yourself. How did you even get into digital marketing, and how did you even get into the industry that you're at today? So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm from Minnesota. I mentioned that, and then I wanted to be in the warm weather, and so I tried to get into some of the California schools. They were a little bit expensive at the time. My grades kind of stuck back in high school, and I'm always more into girls and partying and fun, and so I went to school at a Minnesota State College for 2 years, and then I transferred out. I got into business school at ASU. Still not that great of a school, but I really kind of focused on marketing. I really had a passion for marketing. We had a teacher there, and I took a lot of business classes. I didn't really find anything that I felt was I was passionate about. And then I took a marketing class, and they gave us some real world examples, and it really kind of touched me. And I really liked the philosophy or the psychology behind marketing and being able to basically sell to a mass amount of people instead of just person to person. And so that's what I kind of felt marketing was. And but through college, even I graduated college in 2010, and I realized digital marketing is the wave of the future, and they didn't really teach us anything about that at any of the classes, really. I mean, back then it was all traditional marketing, how to put together a PowerPoint and signage and just marketing plans, but very little was it relating to actual online marketing, pay-per-click, SEO, website design, anything like that. And so I wanted to teach myself that, and so I started a business. My first business was healthy food deliveries, that was the name of the company. I built that with my crazy ex-girlfriend, and she, I partnered with the 6 local healthy restaurants, like by
Wait,
ASU.
is it domain called healthyfooddelivery.com, something like that?
It was, yes.
Wait, that's actually a nice domain to have, though. Do you still have it?
No, I sold it. I didn't sell it. I got rid of it back in the day. I just didn't want anything to do with it with her anymore.
I see what happened. Okay, I gotcha. I got it. So how long did that last? Just wondering.
So that lasted for about a year or so, but that was like mine, kind of like a side gig at the time. And so right after I graduated college, I got into a few sales gigs, and I worked at Dish Network selling, satellite TV, and it was great because I learned just like
the hustle, man. You heard of the hustle.
Yeah, the hustle.
So and then I was promoted. I did phone sales, and then I did door sales, and I worked at Blockbuster, which is kind of fun, where I was selling.
Wait, Blockbuster? Like.
Well, yeah, because Dish Network owned Blockbuster at the time, and so my job was I was actually working inside of the Blockbusters, watching TV on their couches, getting people to sign up for their Dish Network.
What a sweet gig!
And I was making
traffic coming in myself.
$2,000 or $1,500 a week or so, like that. And all these people, working at Blockbuster for like 15, 20 years, and managers doing all the work, and they're seeing me like sitting on the TV, watching TV while they're doing all the work and paid a lot more than them. Anyway, so I worked there for a while, and then obviously Blockbuster kind of disappeared, and Dish Network, I kind of got sick of all the people I had to deal with, and I wanted to get back into marketing. And so I had a friend of a friend, actually, he worked at Google, and I realized, I was like, wow, like I ran some Google ads myself. This was about 14 years ago when I first set up my my first Google ads account. And so I had a friend of a friend that I knew you worked at Google in the satellite office, which is the second biggest office outside of the California office. It was in Tempe. Now they have offices in Tempe and Scottsdale as well.
Yeah.
And so he, like, we went drinking a few times, and like I kept talking to him, picking his brain. I was like, hey, can you get me an interview? Can you get me an interview? And he's like, yeah. And like eventually, like they were hiring, and they gave him $500 gift cards or bonus for every employee that he referred.
Yeah.
And so I got the interview, I got the job, and I actually, in my training class, there were 60 people in my training class at Google, and I was actually the second highest score that in the class. So they transferred me, instead of working directly with B2C, with business to consumer, they put me directly in the agency support.
That's
so my
awesome.
whole role was supporting 25. They gave me 25 agencies right away, right when I graduated from the Academy of Google. And so I was supporting different advertising agencies, setting up all of their clients' accounts. So I was managing about 250 to 275
right away,
different
B2B
Google Ads
right
accounts.
That's crazy.
Awesome.
B2B. Yeah. Oh man, so like some of my first accounts were like, so I had two verticals that I was really focused on that had a lot of my clients. They were the music industry, and then they were the plastic surgeons and dentists. And so the reason why those two, so I worked with like EDC, with, running those ads back about 7-8 years ago or so. And then, so right then and there, that helped me get a few other clients as well. So I worked with, like, this is before they got famous, but like Paul Wall, J. Cole, and Kendrick Lamar. I was selling out their shows for several months, and that
so this
kind
was
of
like
helped
2014,
me
2013, 2014 though, like probably, right?
Yeah, it's about that. Yep.
Yeah.
So
wow, that's cool.
So this is before they kind of, were selling out shows. As like, I was, running their Google ads, and so that was kind of cool. But then I owned, I started a website, and I realized, I was like, oh man, this would be cool. I could get into the music industry and work with a lot of like, producers and bands and stuff like that, because I have a passion for music. But so I have my website. I bought this domain, musicmarketingservices.com, and I was gonna, promote myself to focus on like artists. And then I realized the demographic that you're dealing with, of, people that, like, they're just rude and just like, I don't know. Okay, so I have a crazy example of, so one of my friends, and they're not all producers aren't douchebags, but this is just an extreme example. So one of my friends was his job back in, he worked for Insomniac, and so he his sole role was basically the concierge to these producers and these DJs coming in, flying into San Diego, and he would basically pick them up from the airport, drive them to the venue, get everything they need. And so he picked up Deadmau5 from the airport, and he's telling me about this story. This was like right when I was kind of getting into it. He's like, dude, you don't want to deal with these, artists, like they're douches. Like, I just picked up Deadmau5 the other day. I had my a new Tahoe that I just got like a month or two ago, and I'm picking up other artists too, so it's not just him. And I pick up Deadmau5, and he starts smoking in the back of my car, and he's like, just, hey, I just got this car, and I just want to be respectful to all the other people I pick up. Can you please just wait? We're going to be at the venue in like 10 minutes. And he's like, he didn't say anything, and he was trying to be friendly and everything, and he was just kind of being a dick. And then like he asked again another like minute or two later, and he can't even make this up. He put his cigarette butt out on the back of his car.
No.
And I'm like, wow, like that is shady. Like and at that point, it's like, what do you do? Like, this is the DJ that you brought out here, and he's just trying to kind of be the middleman.
I drop him off in the middle of the street. That's how we do.
Really?
Right?
I don't know.
What's he gonna do about it? What is he gonna do about it?
I mean,
he's got to walk.
I mean, you're also fired at that point too.
Sure,
so,
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, but,
so do you want a job, or do you just like suck it up? I don't know.
That's true. That sucks though.
So that's where I was like, kind of realized, was like, do I want to work with a lot of, because I had another client that, he was just never like, it was always a pain to collect with, and it just, it was tough. And so the other vertical I was working with was a lot of like surgeons. And so, with that, I love working with surgeons because it's all cash based. If they're going to get perform a breast augmentation or liposuction or anything like that, they're accepting cash. It's not insurance based. And so they're charging at minimum 7 to 15, up to 20 grand for a procedure, straight up cash. And so if I can get, just 1 or 2 or 3 of these procedures every month, the client is happy spending, 3-5 grand a month in ad spend.
Yeah.
And everyone wins too, so which is nice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is too, it's like, so with that industry, I'm for the last like 7 years consistently getting about 7 to 10x ROI on ad spend. And so it's a lot easier to justify success right away, especially SEO kind of takes some time, whereas pay-per-click, I can, build a website right away and start getting leads immediately within like the first, day, essentially. And so that's what's nice with PPC is because everything what I do, Google Ads, pay-per-click, everything I do it's not contract based. My whole philosophy is my clients aren't making money advertising with me. I don't expect them to continue advertising. So kind of skipped ahead there, but so I worked at Google for about 1.5 years, and I realized I was like, you know what? I'm doing all the work for all these agencies, and they're getting all the money for it. And
you're not getting anything. You're just just doing the grunt work.
Exactly. I mean, they gave us all the perks at Google. You had all like the games, the foosball, the ping pong, the like the cool movie theaters and all the benefits and everything. But it's still a call center, and I was still spending 90% of my day on the phone talking to agencies. I realized I was like, I wanted to build something. I've always been an entrepreneur myself, and I started a few other businesses that, didn't go well. I had the healthy food deliveries, and I had the Bahamas Unleashed business, which right after I was working at Dish, I lived in the Bahamas. I decided to start a excursion business in the Bahamas.
Man, that's tough.
And I never went there, didn't know a single person, never been there in my entire life. I convinced my best buddy to move down there. And we were like, you know what? So I built a website, Bahamas Unleashed. And I was like, my whole first goal is let me buy 2 jet skis and rent them out for the people coming off the cruise ship. But I'm like, okay, what if someone just like, wrecks my jet ski or gets eaten by a shark or something? Like that's a lot of liability.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, you know what? Scratch that. I'm gonna just be a middleman to so I did that. So I worked with like a middleman for a lot of the like horseback riding on the beach, jet ski rental, weddings, things like that. And I finally started getting in contact with Atlantis in Paradise Island. And then we had like some issues. So my friend didn't have bring a single dollar with him too. And so it was like, I was supporting 2 of us with like kind of like,
wow.
And so, and it was a ghetto like area too. I mean, like, cause we didn't have a car, so we wanted to be as close to the beach as possible. But I mean, if you've been to the Bahamas, it was there was some sketchy points where I was like, hey, I kind of missed the States. This is fun while it lasted, but so that was
how long did that last?
Journey, but
how long did you do
that? Was about six. Well, yeah, about two months only.
Oh, 2 months.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna I had the business for about probably 4 or 5 months, but like I went back for a funeral of one of my friends, and then like I had an issue where like they basically stranded us in the airport and made me miss like the funeral. It was like I had like a bad taste in my mouth like coming back, so I was like, all right, I'm done with this.
Yeah, this is it.
I mean, and that was like right when I was kind of getting my connections with Atlantis. But I mean, times have changed, or like things it would have been a lot different, and I'm glad I kind of worked out how it did. But so I started my own agency about 7 years ago now, right before I moved to Florida, and I had a few casinos so I worked with all of the Arizona main casinos, so like Vicuiva, Wild Horse Pass, and Lone Butte.
Nice.
And then I had a few property management companies, and coming directly from Google. And this is what I always tell my entrepreneur friends is, you don't necessarily have to fully switch from a corporate job to solely, on your own. And what I always tell people is, have your side business, spend time on the side doing that when you're making at least, 40 or 50% of what your revenue of you're making, or even 30% of your revenue, or 40
salary, yeah,
that you're making on your corporate job, and switch over. That's what my wife did too. She was working at DHL as a director, and now she owns Her Authentic, which is like a high-end resale of handbags.
It's killing
and
it
now
too.
she's killing it with that.
Yeah, it's killing it.
And I'm happy for her because
3 years now, 3 years almost.
Yeah, about 3 years now.
Yeah.
So that she fully made that switch to full time. But you don't have to make that jump. I know it can kind of get scary to just fully quit your corporate job, and especially if you have kids or family or bills that you have to pay. It's just can be scary. But so to get into SEO, so I worked at Google for about a year and a half before I started my own agency, and then I had about 6 clients at the time when I started my own agency when I quit. But it was still, wasn't not nearly as much as I was making at Google, but it was more for like, let me build this. I believe in me. Let me invest in me and and put my time into this. And so I wanted to get knowledgeable and experience with SEO because I knew pay-per-click and Google Ads like the back of my hand, managing 300 different clients. And so I was in Miami, and I'm like, let me find the people that know what they're doing. And so I typed in, best SEO agency into Google or SEO company. And I was like, if you can rank in Miami for SEO agency or like, some of these top phrases, like, what you're doing, especially it's the most competitive industry. It's like, if you can rank above other SEO agencies, what you're doing. And so I kept seeing these 2 companies show up for all of these different phrases. And it's like, these guys must know what they're doing. So one of them was the Miami SEO company. The other one was No Risk SEO. And so my value proposition was, hey, I came directly from Google, and my expertise is pay-per-click. I don't know if you have a pay-per-click manager, but I'd be happy to, manage some of your clients or all of your clients on the pay-per-click side in exchange for, we can split the management fee directly. And then on top of that, I have other pay-per-click clients that are looking for SEO services. I see your ranking at the top of the page, then you can give me a kickback on that end. And so it worked out well. Actually, the funny thing is, so those 2 companies that I kept seeing at the top of the page, I called them both. It was the same person that answered twice. It's like, wow, like, dude, they're ranking 2 different sites at the top of Google for all these different phrases.
So they're dominating and purposely target different demographic, probably.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I didn't realize. It was like, wow, like this is pretty impressive. Like, and so at the time, I didn't really ask if they're hiring or anything. I just wanted to just meet with them in person. So I was down in South Miami, and their office was located in Coral Springs, which is even crazier because they were ranking 2 different websites, basically 70, 80 miles away.
Yep.
And they weren't even in Miami. And so when I drove up there, and it was probably like a, hour and 15-minute drive because I left it at like 9 in the morning or 8 in the morning or something like that. So I hit traffic, and I'm like, oh man, this is far. And I was expecting some big like Zimmerman, type of marketing agency with like thousands of employees.
Couple floors.
I walk in, and the funny thing is, I was like, am I lost? Is this the right place? It was like a strip mall type of like a spot where it's like hundreds of different little office space, and it was just like a little suite. And I walked in, and there's 6 employees there,
6
or maybe 5 even at the time. And I was like, holy crap! And so they're like, yeah, we run pay-per-click, but our expertise is SEO. This is Jason and Sergio, and they had another owner who was more of the sales guy, and so they actually offered me a job. So I was the director of pay-per-click, and at first I was like, you know what, I don't want to work for corporate again, but this is at least an opportunity where I can learn SEO too. And it was a long drive. I ended up driving literally like over an hour there and back, 5 days a week.
For how long?
For over almost 2 years, about a year and a half, 2 years. And so I still talk with, I'm still like, very close friends, and actually a business partner with one of the other owners still, Jason Hawkins, as well as Sergio Icardi. He's kind of went on his own, running a mobility scooter e-com site that's killing it. They're making like a lot, and they're ranking at least number 1 or number 2 or like on a national level for anything like mobility scooter related. So they're like,
crazy.
Wow.
He's like, I didn't want to deal with any, with SEO as much anymore, like clients and the agency life. So he's like, let me just, build an e-commerce site. And so they started with that. But yeah, now, I'm about 7 years in running advertising for surgeons. I have 25 clients of plastic surgeons and dentists across the country, as well as I have several other, like a transportation company. I have a very large energy client that I just closed about 2 months ago that they're on the Fortune 500 list. And then I've worked with, let's see my account, like some pergola companies, exotic car transportation. So they do Lamborghinis. That's a crazy business. If you're looking for a business, so this guy, he literally has the smallest budget of any of my clients. He has a $1,500 ad budget.
The fanciest cars with it.
Dude, he doesn't need it though. He's booked up like crazy.
Oh, he's booked up though.
He has 5 cars, so 5 Lamborghinis that he rents out. ExtasyExotics.com is his website, but it is a plug for him. But anyway, so he rents out these Lambos for like a weekend for people that come in to fly into Miami. They're trying to ball out and impress their friends and their girls. And,
of course.
And rent a Lambo for like $1,000 or $1,200 a day, and he's killing it because the cost per clicks are like 40 cents, and like his cost per conversion
not
right
even
now.
One click, not even one conversion.
No, his cost per conversion is only $7. So he's getting a legit phone call or form submission for $7. It's one of my lowest I've ever ran right now. And I work with a lot of different other clients as well too. I have 4 employees myself, and pay-per-click is my expertise, but I still know and I'm knowledgeable enough with SEO. I have a team of content writers. They're all remote, obviously. They don't need to be in-house, but then I have a full-time graphic designer, full-time web developer.
So let me ask you this though: is the social media content stuff part of that? Do you not handle that, or do you outsource that, or do you have another? You partner with somebody else to do that for you?
Yeah, so I have 2 employees. So I have my graphic designer that helps and creates social media on behalf of my clients and post that, as well as I have Josh, who he is on my team. He's my Facebook ads and Instagram ads manager, because like I used to manage everything myself. And one thing I wanted to focus on this last year has just been ever since before COVID. So basically the last 2 years, and is delegation. Is basically, how can I spend my time more wisely where I'm not focusing my time on mundane tasks, where I can easily just have someone else do it where I know it can be done well. And so hiring the right people is the most important. You want to incentivize them enough to really work hard, but have a loyalty for your business and for your clients. You want to make sure that clients are getting the best results. And it got to a point where it's like, if they're paying me thousands of dollars a month, I want to make sure I give them enough time that they deserve, as well as I want to focus on new client acquisition and basically just the 30 mile overview of just my, running an agency and just, really trying to focus on the partnerships and being able to go networking and meeting with other business owners rather than before I was spending 90% of my time just running Google ads. And I still love it. I still am in accounts probably for at least 3 or 4 hours a day, but it's nice having a right-hand lady that she has, before I hired her. So I've been working with her for over 2 years now. And, so before I hired her, she was working at another agency for like an Australian-based agency for 7 or 8 years. So she's had 7 or 8 years of agency experience. And now, so that was awesome. So I'm like, all right, let me basically double your salary of what, they were paying you. And well, I mean, the funny thing is he actually sold his agency and like and so I was like, okay,
that worked out nicely though.
Jump on that.
Yeah,
it did, and her as well too.
So when you go and you're going out and getting new clients, do you use your same ad techniques to get new clients, or do you go and cold call or like do more networking?
That's funny. That's funny that you mentioned that too. So as you can imagine, I mean, they always say like the bladesmith uses a wooden knife, or like, like there's always like like some different analogies for that where it's like, dentists never go to the dentist and stuff like that. But so obviously, I've advertised on many different, advertising mediums and channels, and digital marketing, you have to imagine that it's very, very competitive, that you have a lot of other agencies that are going after SEO agency or, trying to rank for, certain phrases, things like that. That's why I really realized that niching down and focusing on specific industries is much, much better. And I think it establishes credibility. Like, for example, like if we get on a phone with a plastic surgeon, we're confident that we can close them 8 or 9 times out of 10, just because that's all we work with. And having our referrals and case studies and video testimonials, like, they know we don't work with just anyone, like plumbers or, things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's why I separated. I have the advertising for surgeons business, and I have like the master AdWords side too, to focus on other types of clients as well. But yeah, so I've tried it. The best and most effective strategy that I've learned for client acquisition is, it's obviously referrals, but this is the one strategy that I think has helped me really gain, I would say about half of my clients, is finding those partnerships with the actual other agencies. Okay, so for like how I mentioned that, how I got the job as a director of pay-per-click with those SEO agencies. So similarly, I been to several different networking events and different like expos, like Plastic Surgery The Meeting, for example, which is like the largest plastic surgery gathering. And back about 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't have the funds to afford a $5,000 booth, and so I realized it's okay. Let me go and personally introduce myself to essentially my competitors. So I went and found all the digital marketing agencies that focused on surgeons, and I kind of gave them the same value proposition of, hey, like I just focus on pay-per-click. Do you need any help or assistance with that? And then in exchange, also, I can send you, business on the SEO side and the web design side. And so they appreciate that. It's like a win-win situation
in a sense. It kind of works
exactly.
Yeah.
And so now I actually have like 3 different agencies that basically white label my services, and still I charge them about the same as what I charge a normal client, but I don't even have to do any sales. They're just bringing me new clients because they trust that I'm going to take care of them, that my results are going to supplement their SEO
Correct.
services or social media services. And so, I've ran Google ads, and we're starting to actually rank for surgeon advertising related keywords. We're number 1 for, I think, in the national level, as well as, so because Jason, he's just started helping me. We just partnered up 50-50 about 7 or 8 months ago, and he is the brains. He's the most knowledgeable SEO guy I've met. And so he's starting to rank our site a lot better than, because before, I wasn't really producing much content, but he is a content writer. He loves it, and he's really good at it. I'm pretty good at it, but the thing is, it's like, I'm not efficient at it. Like, it'll take me 3 hours to write a 2,000 word article because I'm very, like, kind of a perfectionist when I have to make sure everything, sounds good, where it's like, he can just write and it doesn't have to, proofread. He can write it in like 20 or 30 minutes and it looks and it sounds amazing. And so, that's the thing, is really SEO got to be, instead of quantity and, the amount of links that you have or the amount of words that you have in these articles, now it's all about unique and very compelling content, and making sure that you want to provide content that's shareable. You got to look at, in Google's mindset, they're putting websites on the top of the page because they want people to engage with that content.
Yeah, of course.
And so are they just going to put generic 500 word, like keyword heavy, SEO heavy content, articles or blogs on the top of the page, that just doesn't provide value? No, they want to really take people that, they for sure know that they're an expert in that specific industry. And so that's why it's a snowball effect. Once you have good quality content and, hundreds of pages on your site, Google's like, realizes that you're more of an authority in the space. And so they're willing to rank you higher. And so it's a lot easier to get momentum and get better rankings once your website has, many backlinks to high authority websites and a lot of relevant content talking about certain topics, relating to that blog. And so
let me ask you this, without diving into too much detail, because obviously we don't want you to give out your secrets at the same time, right? So
no, I'll share it. I mean, I'll share. I'll be happy to share. There's a lot of business to go around, and I need help.
No, but the things that, I mean, obviously you know what you're doing, in a sense. You're very passionate about it, obviously, from the way you're talking. But let me ask you this though: if you were to tell, a new brand or whatever it is, 3 things to focus on in terms of from an SEO standpoint, what would that be though? Like, if you were to tell them, like, right off the bat, a brand new brand just came in tomorrow. Hey, listen, I want to be able to get leads. What would you tell them?
So SEO or just digital marketing as a whole?
Digital SEO first, and then you can take a step back as a whole.
Okay. So first things first, the biggest thing, well, other than getting a website, you want to make sure that you're, credible, and you have your website, you have your social media profiles, because credibility is king. You want to make sure that that's the first line of defense of, like, your reputation. People don't see your brick and mortar building, they see your website and they see your social media channels and whatever. And so that's number one. Once you have the website, I don't count that as like number one. That's just an essential thing that you need.
That's like the prerequisites.
Yeah, exactly. Just get a website, make it sexy. I don't care. A lot of people spend $5-10 grand getting a website. The thing is, make sure that you can customize it yourself or find a developer that you trust. I don't care if you spend $1,000, $500 for a website. Even if it's on like Wix, if you can customize it. I don't recommend Wix. I definitely recommend WordPress, but it's a little bit harder because it's a lot. It's a little harder to customize yourself, but it's a lot better for SEO.
So besides the website, though, right? So
besides website. So number one, you want to make sure that you get a Google My Business page.
Yep.
And you want to optimize that page as much as possible. So whether that you are a local business or not, you want to make sure that you can rank in your backyard. And so that's the easiest thing to do.
Locally wise.
You can even have, let's say, you're a national brand, like my energy company, for example. You can have one headquarter business, and then you can set up a Google My Business listing in every major metropolitan city. All you need is just access to a zip code or not a zip code, but a mailing address, and then they're going to mail out a postcard just so you can verify that someone lives there. So the reason why I say this is important is because Google, if you look on a search, like just you do a Google search for pretty much any service-based business lately, or you're going to usually see 3 or 4 ads at the very top on a desktop computer, which are Google ads. If you're on a mobile phone, you're going to usually see 2 ads at the top.
Yep.
And then right below that, but right above the local or the organic SEO, right above that and below the ads, you're going to usually see the map listings, which is a Google My Business listing. And you'll sometimes notice, you'll see someone that has like 0 reviews and they're ranking, in a huge metropolitan area for, various services. And so a lot of people don't realize that, if you're actually consistently filling that out, adding relevant pictures to that, adding a good quality description of at least like 700 to 750
or you're
characters.
Or you're going to post the Google post as well, right? You can do Google
exactly. And so that's what I was going to get to is, and I tell this to clients all the time, is like people, and I wouldn't say Instagram and Facebook are a waste of time at all posting, but people aren't on that to purchase or make decisions. People are on there for, to look at cat videos and follow their sports teams, And so with Google, they failed with the Google Plus. They failed with, there's a few other social media platforms that they've tried. They want engagement. You have to look at it in Google's mind of they want engagement. And so how can they award engagement is allowing or basically incentivizing advertisers or businesses to engage with their customers. And so by posting on Google My Business, you will get more business doing that than posting on Facebook and Instagram combined, if you do it properly, if you do it consistently. And the funny thing is too, you can do like the OneUp app, oneupapp.io. It allows you to post to GMB, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter all at one time. And so that's cool. So a lot of people don't realize that. And so once you have that Google My Business listing, then you want to, make sure that you have backlinks too. And so the backlinks are important. The easiest way to get backlinks. So Google My Business is like
what is a backlink for people who don't know?
Yeah.
So backlinks are going to be basically links from links on the website on other websites that link back to your website. So it's basically credibility builders, and that allows you to. Everyone has like a domain authority or a page authority of how Google views you in terms of the value that you bring to the internet or in your space.
So like example, can I put an example? So you're saying that let's say that Medium is a blog website, right? If someone writes a blog about you and then tags your brand into the like a backlink to a product in your brand, that's a backlink, right?
Correct. So so if it links back to your website from another website, that's a backlink. And so there's inbound links and outbound links.
Okay. So when you say that's inbound link, right? What's the outbound link then?
The outbound link is having a link to either another page or landing page on your website. So like if it goes to a different page or else if it goes to another, let's say like a Yahoo Finance article or like another article, that would be an outbound link.
So what's stopping people from creating a bunch of blogs to advertise their own
and then
brand?
link between them
all. Yeah. I'm just wondering.
So I mean, you got to look at, Google has thousands and thousands of employees, and they want to make sure that their users are having a really good experience, and their employees, like they have a lot more time, and they're developers. They have a lot more time, and their algorithms are so extensive and they are always changing. They're changing literally every month or two with new updates.
Yeah.
And so they're smarter than you think you are. If you think you're gonna, cheat the system, you're in a world of hurt. So like, don't ever, use like websites like Fiverr or like any of those like sites to try to buy like link farms and like buying links, or really you got to realize like Google just wants users to have a good experience. And so sometimes you keyword stuff, or you hide like keywords in the background of like a blank white text, so like the users can't see it but Google can index it. That's shady. Anything that you think is shady, Google's not going to like it, and they're going to blacklist you.
Yeah. So okay. So let me ask you this, right? So your personal experience, based on your experience right now, you still feel passionate about, I guess, well, not still feel passionate. Obviously you are, because obviously you haven't quit yet. So, but more like in terms of personal reward, right? I guess this personal satisfaction, obviously helping clients out, creating win-win situation partnership. Is this what you were expected when you started this, or did it surpass your expectation?
Yeah, so when I started, and the reason why I wanted to get into digital marketing is I wanted to work anywhere in the world with a computer and not have a boss, and be able to make my own schedule. And I literally, I work a lot, but like I've taken the last 2 Fridays off. Just, I went golfing, and then I went on another bachelor party the weekend before too. But I work sometimes till midnight, 1 a.m, building campaigns because I love it. But being able to have my laptop and work anywhere, it's really nice. It's what I expected. I didn't think I would grow as big as I have, where, I have this many clients and employees, but I love it. I will be in digital marketing for a long time. I've had people ask me to sell it, and like, I've had those conversations.
I was gonna say, what's your exit plan? What is your exit plan? Or do you have one yet? Oh yeah, have you even thought about it yet?
The thing is, so with digital marketing agencies, it's tough because a lot of them don't give you the valuations that you really deserve. They don't, like, typically, like if it's a software company, they'll give you like 8x sometimes of yearly revenue. Like with most digital marketing agencies, unless they're like fully automated and you have some sort of a software or something relating to like a unique proposition,
or like
you're only getting about 3x.
What happens if you lock the contract down with some clients for like 2 years or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I personally have never had to, and I don't like that. I think agencies that like hold clients like hostage and basically hold their website, and they're
shady.
I think it's shady. So I just haven't. And like I said, going back to that, if you're not making money advertising with me, like, you're going to get pissed off. You're going to leave a bad review. I don't want that. You don't want that. So I'm never going to hold anyone to contract.
So
like
value.
I was saying,
that's your value though.
So it's about, so like we've, at that old agency that I was mentioning, that was ranking, they brought us to the table, and they were basically, gave us like a 4 or 5x valuation to start. And then they're like, okay, well, we're going to have, because, we're going to have to hire basically new account managers if we're going to, buy you guys out, unless, are you going to work for us on behalf of this new company for like a year? And I'm like, if they're only giving us 2.5 to 3x, like, screw that, like, it's not worth it. Let's just, keep this going and
make money.
I mean, I didn't want to sell in the first place too, but
but it's interesting because like, if like in your business, right? If like you were saying how like if it's automated, or if there's some sort of I don't know, if you have some competitive advantage, then it's like a bigger valuation. But literally in your situation, like
it's good.
If you take you away, like that business isn't as profitable anymore. So that's why they have.
That's exactly it, and that's exactly it. And so it's hard because it's like, it's not like my wife's business where she doesn't, like, she lists something online and it's gone and it sells itself, where she doesn't really need that human interaction as often, and like she can easily kind of duplicate herself a little bit more than me, where it's like I'm managing, not only 4 employees or 6 employees now, but all these clients, and it's a lot harder to substitute someone in for me or like my other partner. And so that's why, like you mentioned.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're the brain. That's what it sounds like, to be honest with you. Like,
so that's why
the face, the brain, also the sale. You bring the new sales as well.
And and like that's what I mean. Imagine like if you're a client working with me for 4 or 5 years, and then we're talking every month, and then all of a sudden, I just decide, I'm going to sell my company.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to necessarily want to work with this new agency? Who knows? And so like that's it's not on me, but it's like that's why it's hard to put valuations on these types of agencies, and that's why we're trying to focus more on with like this other model where it's more paper consultation type of a payment strategy. So that's, if you look at my Advertising for Surgeons site, you can see that method if you look into that.
So now, mentioning that, your business right now, the way you are, you're probably happy. You don't want to sell. You probably just did it to test the water. So, so let me ask you this now. Obviously, you're doing a good job because based on customer experience and the satisfaction that they're receiving, right? In terms of like, have you thought about that? What's the next 3 to 5 year plan on how to expand the agency, or you're just going with it?
So so we're getting into, I mean, like I said, so we can create websites and all unique content with like 15, 20 pages of content within 2 weeks now. We're so efficient with our team that we have, and with Jason being the content writer. And the thing is too, it's like he has a lot of unique strategies. So like here's a few. This is some really good nuggets that if you want to like think outside the box for SEO. So one strategy is you can create a scholarship page on your website, and so you can submit anyway. And like I mentioned, you want to link your website to other high authority type of websites that basically, like if it's like a .gov or a .edu site, like Google puts huge emphasis and authority on those websites for credibility purposes. And so if you have a scholarship page, you could basically say, hey, write a 1,000-word essay on how like clean energy is important for the world. And that's like, for example, for my energy clients.
Yeah.
And then, so not only are you getting, 50 or 100 different submissions from all of these students of like free content, because it's all unique content that you can use and repurpose for your own blog. But on top of that, you're getting all those .edu backlinks from being able to go and submit your scholarship to all of these databases of different universities and colleges. And so anytime they put your link to your scholarship page on their website, you're getting a .edu backlink. And so he's been doing this for about 4 or 5 years now, when he has a database of all of these different universities that he can basically get the scholarship page up. And, you can maybe have like 1,000 or even like $500 or $750, every semester, but you're getting all of those .edu links. It's, the most efficient way to get very, very high authority backlinks. That's one creative way. Another creative way is you really, you want to build authority on like the medium.com and a lot of these other
third-party platforms,
like blog type of stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's a good way to get Web 2.0, like backlinks and things like that. And so, just, really thinking outside the box. And so just getting back to your story, though, your question, sorry, I kind of, I've been all over the place here with this, but so my 3 to 5 year plan, and obviously I'm always expanding and really, getting creative and spending my time more wisely on, more logical business ideas. And since the agency is really running itself right now, and we're very efficient, I went to the Bitcoin conference with you back, about a week or two ago, and I wanted to, take everything in as much as possible. And so I had a friend.
It's a lot of information, man. So much information.
It was. I had a friend recently that, he reached out. He's like, yeah, I have this crypto business that I'm starting with this very, very knowledgeable and high up, guy that, so essentially he asked me, he's like, if you want to help me advertise this, I'll give you some profit share. And so I was like, I'm interested, but, from my knowledge, 2 or 3 years ago, Google and Facebook wouldn't even allow any cryptocurrency advertising. That has changed recently.
They still don't though. I thought there's a lot of certain ones, yeah.
Certain ones. So you can't advertise like ICOs or NFTs, I don't think, and you can't advertise like
correct.
You can advertise like exchanges and other
or the brand
service
to the brand. There's a thin line. Yeah, there's a very thin line.
Correct. Yeah. So that's why you have to be really creative. And so I was like, okay, like, I went to this Bitcoin conference, and I'm like, let me talk with every single vendor there is there. And I was hoping there was a digital marketing agency there, just because I was like, I wanted to pick their brain. Because kind of like I said, I was like, hey, let me just see what you're doing. There's so much business out there that I don't believe there's any competition or competitors really, because it's just all about, giving. Well, no, I'm just saying in general of like, I wouldn't even mind if someone else created another, digital marketing agency focusing on surgeons, so be it. There's so much business to go around, and it's all about trust and credibility that, it's just finding out those relationships that there's so much to go around that compared.
Yeah. Plus,
but anyway,
you're
so
first to market,
I didn't find.
So then you can just buy them out later.
Yeah, exactly.
That works too. Hey, that's a good strategy as well.
Like, build up your businesses, and then we'll take you over. That's fine.
Yeah. But I mean,
if you can't beat them, join them.
Right. But I think Jeremy, I think to your point though, I think you mentioned that correctly, because if you know you're good, you're not worried about the competitor. You worry about yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
especially in a space like cryptocurrency where it's so new.
Yeah.
So, and like I speak actually every semester at the University of Miami for the marketing for entrepreneurs.
Nice.
I keep getting invited to that, and so that's why I love it, because it's like, those are kids that are hungry out of marketing that, sure, some of them may be competitors one day, but I'm all about educating and teaching people. I wish I was, on these podcasts more and lectures more. And I think I learn better. And I learn from these as well. And I love, I want to get better at public speaking as well.
Well, you're paying it forward. I mean, also you're paying it forward, which is nice though, to be honest with you. So
Right. So I could, and I haven't fully committed to this yet, but I definitely could see myself running in the next 3 to 5 years another cryptocurrency focused digital marketing agency, and possibly tokenizing some sort of advertising. So I could see that. So I didn't see any competitors there. And
Robert, I don't think you heard about AdHive.
Oh, that's true.
Actually, that was one of my ICOs.
I know.
The thing is I thought it was like a great concept to it, because a lot of these huge media conglomerates, like there needs to be something that's just like decentralized, and that just
there's only 4.
I think there's
companies.
A lot of opportunity.
Technically, there's only 4 media companies that controls all the news. Right? It's like 4.
Yeah.
Something like that. Something
and they're
crazy.
all controlled by the same basically group of people. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, if we had something like just, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and I have my skills on the marketing side. Well, especially like I don't want to be restricted on advertising certain ICOs or any walking out that line on Facebook and Google, because they're very, very picky, and they can turn your ads off for no reason and in a second.
You easily.
And they can, oh my God, it's like, and they can blacklist your site if
Yeah.
you do anything, you know, if you
shadow
even say
shadow
like,
ban you without you knowing.
this is it's a true story. So like,
Yeah.
I have back about a year or two ago, Google just someone got, I don't know what exactly happened, but I think there was some surgery that went wrong based on like stem cells and PRP therapy. And so
Oh my God.
Google decided that they're like, I don't want to get involved with this at all. So I don't care if you're advertising PRP or stem cell therapy or at all.
Bam.
But even if you have one instance of that on your website, they will shut down your entire Google Ads account.
Really? Wow.
As well
Wow.
as your rankings will start going down organically as well.
So wait,
and so a lot of my
did Google give you a warning though when they did that or no?
No, they didn't at all. They didn't. And so all of a sudden it just says these ads have all been disapproved due to speculative and experimental advertising is what was the reason behind it. And I was like, what? And I looked into the policy and they're like, yeah, we don't allow any websites to even mention PRP or stem cell therapy or anything like that. And so
That's
the crazy thing is, it's like they didn't tell you where it was. And a lot of the clients have like 3,000 or 5,000 different landing pages and all these blogs. And so it's like you had to literally control F through everything. And it took like weeks to eliminate that. So like I said, so it's like, you know, it sucks because it's like they can literally change the rules. They're the big elephant in the room. And so it's like you have to play by their rules.
So did you end up getting that account back or no? Because I know customer service sometimes sucks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I have.
He knows some people at Google too.
That's true.
Yeah, I still have my connections. I have my like agency support, my like the client like that I used to be like as my role at Google. So I like still have the agency support, and so that helps. So they can kind of pinpoint, oh, you know, these are the URLs or landing pages that still have this issue. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, things always change, and when you have like so many clients, it's like it's hard to keep up with everything.
And the policy changes all the time too. The policy changes are so consistent.
Yeah.
It's crazy, you know. All right, so we're gonna pivot a little bit right now. We're gonna take a little break. We're gonna do the extra MSG funny session, where we're gonna share the little link or story that's funny that we found funny throughout the past week or two. So I'm gonna start first because mine's very kind of interesting because so it's a Reddit post of a picture, pretty much. It's a Reddit post of a picture, and the reason why I'm bringing this up because I saw something like this similarly today at the gym that I went to at UFIT. It was just funny though, so I'm gonna share this with y'all. So I'll take a look at this, and pretty much it's a Reddit post, and it's at a bathroom wall, and what's happening is pretty much, you know, there's a picture of another dude, and it's saying, "Hey, bro, nice dick."
Like right in front of the urinal.
It's right in front of the urinal, yeah. So I saw something like this similar today in UFIT, and it just says, "Hey, man, nice junk." I'm like, UFIT didn't know how to take this down. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I mean, it's complimentary. It's not something negative, right?
That's true, but it's just funny because when I saw this post, I'm like,
the first comment was this in the men's bathroom or the women's?
That's true. That's true. You can't tell though in the urinal or not though. See,
it could be urinal. It could be a stall.
Yeah, toilet. It could be a stall. Yeah.
I wonder if it was an employee. Do you think it was an employee or just someone randomly put it there?
I think it was.
I don't know. Random. It's probably someone random for sure though. But it's just funny. Yeah, it's just funny because the reason why I'm saying that, I'm like, I saw this randomly and read. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta post this again. I was like,
yeah. That reminds me of a story. I actually got fired from a job for a very, very similar story. So I thought it was funny at the time. My boss didn't think it was too funny, but it was April Fool's Day, and I was working at this like fun, like college apartment complex. And so we always had like the biggest parties and like the hottest girls that worked at reception. and I was like, and I loved it. And like, you know, and so I was like, oh, it's April Fool's. Like, let me mess with these people. And I was like, so I printed up like 15 of these like flyers, and I said, free Kama Sutra class at 6 p.m. and I had at the pool, and I put it all over the complex, and I didn't say it, like I didn't mention it, and no one was like coming up to me like, is this real? Like, or like, and they kept asking, like the staff and everything, like, oh, is this like, where's this class? And then people actually showed up for it. And then I told like one of the other employees like the next day, like, oh yeah, that was me. So like just as like kind of like, oh, it's like a joke. Like, oh, April Fool's is over. Like, I'll whatever. Like, I'll take them down. I can't believe it, but she ended up firing me, the main boss lady.
So wait, what was her, I guess, legitimate reason for that though? Did she say that it was very offensive?
Basically saying that it was inappropriate and that like we don't condone sexual lessons, and that I don't know. She was a prude. She was a bitch.
Wow.
So that's the funny thing, huh?
Yeah, so it sucks, but no, it's still fun partying there. It was
nice.
Yeah.
All right, so Robert, what's your funny thing?
So my funny thing, it's just like I don't have like a link or anything. Actually, maybe I have like the IMDb. But I was watching this show this weekend. Do you guys watch Top Gear? Did you guys watch that show, Top Gear?
No, what is that?
It's
a little bit, yeah.
It's a British show about cars, and like these three guys, they just talk about supercars, and then they do like challenges and stuff. They're really funny, and it's just like British humor. So they got one of the so the show like the end of the show was the three guys, like one of the guys punched one of the producers and then got fired, and then the other two kind of just walked off with him, and then they all got a show on Amazon. So they signed a deal with Amazon and they put out a new show. And then now they've ended that show and they're doing more of their own thing. But one of the guys, his name is Jeremy Clarkson. He's like a older white British guy. And his thing about on the show was he wants power. Like everything's like more power. Like right?
Of course.
So what happened was he bought a farm, 100-acre farm, in I guess it's in Britain somewhere, but his guy who's taking care of the farm is retiring, and now he's like, I can do this myself, like do the farming myself. So now he has a show of him learning how to farm, like on his 100 acres of land. It's hilarious. You guys have to watch the show. I'll send a link to the IMDb.
That is
but
funny.
it's so
You should
funny.
just put like a racetrack or something around that and just
So
wait, is this farm
in
in England?
Yeah, his place is in England, and he's got a big, like, huge 100 acres. Like he like the beginning of the episode, he's like, all right, so my land goes all the way down until you can't see anymore, and then it goes all the way over here until you pass where you can see, and then behind me as far as you can see.
It's called Clarkson's farm. Okay, nice.
Yeah, Clarkson's farm. So the first episode is him. He's like, I have to find a tractor because he doesn't have anything. Like he literally has nothing. So he's like, I have to find a tractor. So he went to like the local tractor place, and they had all these things that were like, oh, this one has like 60 horsepower. This one's 70 horsepower, and like,
so he has more power.
He's like, this, like, okay, let me do a test drive, and it was so slow, and he comes in with like a huge, like, it was probably 3 times as big as any other tractor in that lot, and it was a Lamborghini tractor. And he's like, yeah, this is it. This is my tractor. And everybody's like, it's too big. That's too big of a tractor.
That's crazy.
That's so crazy.
But it's a really funny show. I think
it looks like
watch it.
It looks like the popularity is going up a lot though. So you got good ratings.
It's pretty new. It's pretty new.
So
that's overwhelming. I'm on the opposite spectrum where it's like I'm literally like I just got my yard leveled, my backyard, and so in my front it's all pavers and like we got turf, like a putting green.
Mm-hmm.
In my backyard, I'm like I don't even want to mow my lawn anymore. Like hundreds of acres sounds overwhelming as hell. Like I want to be able to leave
And this is a
and come
guy.
back. And
This is a guy who can't do anything. He can't even fix his own car if he wanted to. Like, they've done challenges where he has to go fix your car. He has to find somebody to go fix his car. Like he's just like, he's not a guy that does stuff like that. He's just, but like, this is the show. I guess.
Nice.
It's really funny.
All right, so we're gonna jump back into the topic, for the last section of the show. So I want to talk about a little bit more about the evolution. Jeremy, give me your perspective of where do you see, I guess, the SEO, the online digital marketing kind of pivot towards to as other technology, gets released, right? Especially let's focus on how does it impact the marketer or your client, the business, even the content creator, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, so content is always king, and it's always will be king, is having unique content that is engaging and shareable. And, I think with NFTs, I could really see content and images and websites even being transferred to NFTs soon, where people can really identify like the original origin of where that content came from, because a lot of SEO, you get the same content that's being spun and duplicated or the same
like
images
10 times, 20 times, 30 times. Yeah.
10 times to 20 times. And so, I could see, I don't know exactly how, I'm not, a developer or coder, so I don't know
I can see the royalty fees behind this. It can be money.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, look at like Adobe, stock Adobe, or like, Deposit Photos, a lot of those sites too. It's like, I could see a lot of that, royalties on that, but still having the unique and original artists and making sure that they're getting the credibility for that. And so I think there might be a way where you can easily scan like a website and pick up the code, where if that specific graphic, for example, is being used on another website, that it either won't properly display on that website, or that the original creator would get some sort of a kickback or some sort of a royalty fee to have that on this other website.
It sounds like the first step is probably tracking it first, right? Because you can probably attach like a almost like a wallet, like a transaction ID in it, which is unique, into those images, and then people can borrow that, but it will always have that back images. And then when you search for that transaction ID, you pull out who has used your images. You can always track that easily, probably now.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I definitely see that, just because there's billions and billions of pages and online and images online, and so it's hard to really track down exactly where your work is being put out there, and so I think
but not only that,
I think that'll help.
To your point though, Jeremy, I think that could also probably help secure, because some people can be misusing your images.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is not misusing, but also just like without your permission. It's like, I think having that unique original content, especially like I have all the time, my clients have before and after pictures that we see other competitors or other websites that are using those before and after pictures and stuff too. And so now it's like I have to put those like watermarks on all these pictures. It's such a pain in the ass, it's more work. So that's what I could definitely see. I mean, if you look at, I was listening to Sirius satellite radio on either BPM or Chill, and a lot of these producers now are coming up with some sort of like NFTs specifically for music, right?
Yeah.
And like their songs. And so that, I mean, if they're doing it for songs, why aren't they doing it for websites and images and articles and blogs anymore too? And so I could definitely see that in the near future. But content is still king, and it always will be, is being able to, establish that credibility. You're never going to be able to rank or gain Google's trust by just having a 5-page website, or just having, like just 1,000 words of content is not going to rank anymore, where it's like you need not only like ideally for having a website to rank it, depending on how competitive the market is. So let's say on a local level, you want to have at least minimum of 1,500 to 2,000 words of unique quality content, not just keyword stuffing and, just writing just to write and like adding fluff. You want to go in depth as much as you can on that specific topic. But not only that, you want to break it up between, and if you can add at least, 5 images into there, just kind of split up the content, and then adding your call to action. So being a marketing guy, that's the most important thing. You want to have your H1 and your headers and the call to actions prevalent, because, ultimately the goal is to get phone calls or, to sell products on your website. Yeah. It's not to educate people necessarily. You want to build their trust and credibility, but you want them to make a decision and make a purchase decision or hire you for whatever reason. So, and then not only that, so images, 1,500 to 2,000 words of content, as well as having a video or two, because, Google really wants engagement. So time on website and site speed are very important as well. And so, if your site loads slow, Google's not going to want to show you higher in the page.
That's true.
So that's huge as well. So you can go to gtmetrics.com, G as in girls, T as in Tom, metrix.com, or just type in Google page speed into a search query, and then you can just see, how fast or what Google and these other search engines are valuing your website, or like how they see your website in terms of like the site speed. And it'll also tell you how you can optimize it too. Like, for example, this energy client, their site speed was loading at like fully loaded at like 5 or 6 seconds, which that's really high. And they were losing 3 or 4 seconds just on basically outdated JavaScript. And so it's like, by just updating that, you can make it much quicker, which is going to help not only SEO, but pay-per-click as well. And then, so also, just make sure that users are spending time on your site. And so there's bounce rate. So if people are getting on your website and not going to other pages of your website, and they're just leaving right away, you're going to get lower rankings as well too. And so there's a lot of metrics that essentially you just want people to engage with your site, to read your content, to watch your videos. And so you don't want to just put fluff on a page and just to put fluff. You want it organized very, very nicely. I mean, you just look at it as, how would you like a page to be laid out for what you're looking for? And most likely Google is going to put that type of a layout and that page on the top of their search results.
But I mean, I see what you're saying though, in terms of, but now, so now you just talked about the evolution of content, right? You see how that can get evolved, but now how about the experience for the marketer, right? For you perspective, how would that make your life easier? Or do you think that what do you see that shifting can help you shift to make your life easier? And even for the end consumer, right?
Well, the thing is, though, it's like, some of it's a little bit scary, because like Google, a lot of what they're doing is trying to automate it to allow any advertiser, or like basically like the uneducated advertiser, to have the same, I guess, opportunity of success as an agency like me. And so, for example, they're really trying to push smart bidding strategies and broad match keywords, and like they got rid of the average position ranking, so you don't know how much you need to bid for certain phrases. So what they're doing is they're trying to make it more automated, but there's still ways that you need to be creative, and that's how help me get this Fortune 500 client, is thinking outside the box and going after, like, for example, some of the direct competitor keywords, or going after like specific, like the World of Concrete has like a conference, so going after some of those keywords, like you can get cost of clicks at like 50 cents to $1, and trying to think outside the box because, as Google and other, Facebook are trying to automate things, and with iOS 14 update, the targeting makes it a lot more difficult to remarket and identify that exact audience that you want to target. You have to get creative. You have to think outside the box and figure out who your ideal target audience is, and which websites are they looking on, or what keywords are they specifically typing in, because it's getting way too competitive with trying to compete against broad phrases such as like
that's true
plastic surgeon, for example, or energy company, or like attorney, anything like that. And so if you really identify, niche down to figuring out who that ideal target audience is, that's the most important thing, because you can spend millions and millions of dollars advertising for any business out there, but the most important thing is figuring out who your audience isn't and trimming out the fat. And so you can layer in the targeting and making sure that, I'm talking about the ad side of things, not the SEO side of things much, but figuring out who your ideal audience is the most important thing, because that way you can narrow it down to, only targeting specific locations, regions, only targeting average household incomes, certain keywords, and layering the targeting to find that exact audience who's going to be the most appropriate. Because that way, it's not like a TV ad or a billboard where you just throw a bunch of darts against the wall. You just hope something sticks. With digital marketing, social media like Facebook ads or Google ads, you can be as picky as you want to try to, focus your business on those ideal clients.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So before we with that in mind, right? So you mentioned in terms of that specific. How do you see with that? You think you said that it's scarier, right? Because that could will make your job easier, or do you think it will be harder to get those data? For example, like you see how Apple came out with this, privacy thing, right? Not letting a lot of the apps letting users to opt out on this data, so therefore they may not collect as many data point now, right? So that's a part of the evolution we see. But then we see the other side thing where TikTok has this crazy analogy. They know what you're watching, and they keep feeding you what you want to watch.
Right. Exactly. No, it's scary in terms of just like, they are trying to, I guess, automate things as easy as possible and and almost cut the agencies out, because, it's not necessarily. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like kind of just for job security purposes of, are agencies even going to be around in 5 or 10 years? Most likely they are, because people are lazy, and
people are super lazy. I'm telling you right now.
But why would they want to cut out these people?
Just because they want the ease of use, and I think people get overwhelmed if they can't do it themselves. And so if you can, have basically a set it and forget it type of a strategy where it's like, you don't even have to provide keywords, or you provide ads. They'll write the ads for you, and they'll, set up basically smart
one-stop shop every deal.
Yeah.
Simple. Mm-hmm.
So it's basically like they say, hey, what's your industry? How much do you want to spend? And then we'll group out all these people together. And they're already kind of starting to do that. I've noticed, so I've worked with one of my largest clients for the last 5 years. I haven't worked with them anymore just because it's so saturated, is health insurance. So I worked for with some health insurance call centers, and the cost per click about 4 years ago was about $2 or $3 a click, or cost per lead was about $12 to $15 per lead, and the cost per sale is about $150. They were making, for health insurance, new sign up. I think that's I hate health insurance, how shady it is, because the middlemen are literally making about 2 or 3 months of your of monthly premiums.
Yeah.
So if you're paying $400 or $500 per month, the person that signed you up is probably making about $1,000 to $1,500 off of that. And so when their cost per acquisition is $150 per new sign up, they're making 7 to 10x or so, just off of that. And so that was, and then it's gotten so competitive where I kept doing that, and it kept, instead of $2 a click, it went to $5 a click, then it went to $7 a click. Now it's $12 a click, only because they got rid of the average position ranking. So, and there's more and more people advertising for the same keywords. And so since they got rid of average position, before you could figure out exactly where your keywords are in the search results and where they were showing up. And so, like, for example, if you went after like individual health insurance plans, they would tell you your average position is 2.1, you're paying $3.05. And so then you could kind of work with that and be like, okay, if I bid $3.25, where does my average position go? And so you could figure out,
you can kind of forecast
manually
forecast a little bit,
and you could manually change your bid. And now they basically are punishing people that are manually bidding. And not only that, they're lumping everything together where they don't tell you how much you're paying. So even if you're in that first position and you want to get more aggressive, oh yeah, no, that's the thing. Google is in a business to make money. And so let's say, you were in position 1 already, but you were bidding $7.50 for individual health insurance plan. Then all of a sudden, you see it's a little bit more competitive, that you're not always at the top of the page, or, but you really are. Your next competitor is willing to pay $8 a click, but then you don't know where you are on the average position.
That's
so
true.
Sometimes you see them higher, and then you're like, okay, let me raise it to $11 a click. And then it just keeps getting a battle back and forth.
Yeah, it removes a max on how much you're gonna spend.
So
so
do you think $11?
Because if you see that you can spend an extra $1 and you'll hit the number 1 spot or whatever, then you'll spend it. But if you don't know, then you don't know how high, then you just might overbid. Whereas over here, like where the old way, you might know exactly how much to bid.
Pretty much, they took away your efficiency.
Right.
That's what they did. They took away your efficiency.
Well,
that's so nuts, though.
There's still other strategies. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they just wanted to be able to increase the average cost per clicks on pretty much every industry out there by automating the bidding strategies for all users.
So they're trying to market, hey, this is good for everybody, but it's not really,
Right. And so which, especially for like very competitive industries. So I don't work with attorneys. That's why we're like, my plastic surgeons, I say they got the lawyer money, but not the lawyer bullshit, because no one wants to work with attorneys. But not only are they dicks usually, but like it's so ridiculously competitive. So like, if a cost per click for like a plastic surgeon is like $8 to $10 per click, in more competitive regions.
Yeah.
Guess how much like a divorce attorney, like if you were to type in like divorce attorney, like near me, or personal injury attorney, take a wild guess how much a click, not even like a phone call, but like a click would be.
Probably, I'll say probably $50.
What's an average? Like, I don't even know where to even like.
So average, I'd say for most industries I work with, I would say is $5 to $7. Some of them are lower, some of them are higher.
Okay.
For personal injury attorneys, in most metropolitan areas, you're paying $250 to $400 per click. That's not even per phone call.
Jesus,
that's per click. That's and so like, for example, if you could easily spend 4 clicks in a day, so that's $1,000. And if not one of those people ends up being, like fully calls you or leaves a form on your website, you just wasted $1,000. And so it's hard to justify for these, surgeons or for these attorneys that like, because like they get like in a cock measuring contest where it's like, I've got a bigger budget. No, I got a bigger budget. And attorneys, they always they're so competitive that they've drove up the price per click so much, especially now that like you don't know where your average position is. And so it's hard because it's like, even if you have a $5,000 monthly budget, that sounds like a lot, but that's, it could only be maybe like 20 clicks or 30 clicks.
So how does to be honest with you, how would a small brand with limited budget just compete with that? It's super hard. You can't.
Well, I mean, that's if you're like an attorney, that's different. But like
but
small brands, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in general, right? Let's just take up go to different industry. Let's just say that you're branding.
Yeah. So let's say so like I took on another client recently. They have a they do pergolas, for example. So it's like a $3 or $4 per click. And so, there's a lot of people that are typing in just pergolas, but
what's a pergola?
A pergola is like an awning, or like, so like if you have like a backyard, it's like a shade awning.
Okay.
And so they focus more on like the louvered roof, which basically like you have a remote and then you can have it like open shade or like closed shade, depending on the weather and stuff like that. And so they charge like $5,000 or so.
Jeremy, do you own one of those? Do you own one of those in the backyard?
No, I don't. You haven't seen my backyard.
I haven't seen your backyard in a while. I know I haven't even seen it when you leveled it out. I still haven't seen that yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
well, yeah, we're putting the turf in next week, so it'll be nice.
There you go.
So anyway, so their cost per click is about $3 or $4, but like I mentioned, finding the ideal keywords that are the most appropriate, like instead of just going after pergola, you want to add as many negative keywords as well to block out any irrelevant phrases that may not be as, may not lead to the ideal client.
Well, it also makes you waste money too, also, right? So therefore, you don't want to be searching.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So you want to like avoid, going after like for example, they don't offer any plastic pergolas or like wood pergolas. It's usually just like aluminum.
Yeah.
And so like adding those as negatives, or like do it yourself, you add as a negative keyword, or like pictures as like a negative, or videos. And so by going after
pay
like
for all the negatives as well as all the positives.
No, exactly. You don't pay. You don't pay for any of the negatives at all. And so that's why you want. So when I build a campaign, I usually have like 1,500 to 3,000 negative keywords that I'll put into the shared library. So basically, anytime anyone types in like worst or free or Groupon or Amazon or Walmart or anything like that,
that's crazy.
Then we don't have to pay for a lot of those wasted clicks. And so you're trimming the fat, and and so that's why you can compete with it being a small brand, because it doesn't matter. I always tell my clients, I don't care what budget you want to start with. I'm pretty picky with, I only work with clients with like usually like a $2,500 or $3,000 minimum budget. But, I always tell them, I'm like, I really don't care what you want to spend, because we can scale it. We'll do proof of concept with, let's say, a $2,000 or $3,000 budget. Once you're killing this and you're, getting a 5 or 10x ROI, you're going to be the one to say, hey, let's turn this up. Let's scale this. Because if the thing is, it's like, it's as efficient as it gets. Where and that's why the second thing, and to getting back to this, is making sure that you have diligent tracking and you're very, very meticulous and knowing exactly what your cost per acquisition is, your cost per conversion, and knowing for every dollar that you spend, how many dollars are you getting back? If you're not getting at least a 3-to-1, 3x ROI, you're doing something wrong. And so trim the fat more, or B, find that ideal audience.
So let me ask you this. So going back to the evolution question, do you see that being better for the marketer eventually, evolve to be better, or do you think it would get worse?
In terms of like the automation side of things?
Automation, simplicity, perhaps, or maybe even accuracy, right?
Yeah. I mean, just because it's simpler to set up a campaign. Like I still run my search campaigns as well as smart campaigns for some of my larger clients, and I just compare an A/B test back and forth. Yeah. The smart campaigns are the ones that you like basically you set it up. You can set it up within like 3 or 4 minutes. And a search campaign, it's a lot more elaborate of a lot more, I guess, options to be able to like target and target different audience. But I see it as a double-edged sword where I think it makes it more difficult because the cost per clicks go up.
Yep.
But I still think there's going to be customizable ways to be more efficient, and they're not getting rid of remarketing. So remarketing is the number one most important and most efficient way to get customers, is because like if someone knows who you are already, and they visited your website,
yep,
doesn't matter what service or product that you have, if you keep reminding them that you exist, they're going to eventually buy or be a customer. So it's, and usually I read a study saying, depending on like how much your, I guess like the price point of the service or products that you're selling are, but unless it's like a haircut or like an oil change, most touch points you have to, people have to be familiar with your company at least 7 to 9 times before they make a buying decision.
That makes sense, though.
They have to either visit your website or see your sign, watch a TV commercial, or see a banner ad or an email, about 7 to 9 times if it's like a major purchase. And so that's why remarketing is so important. And I don't think that's ever going to go away, but there's still different ways to be creative outside of the automation that Facebook and Google have tried to basically simplify.
So, okay, so we're going to conclude this episode with one thing. So let me ask you this. What would your advice be to a new digital marketing marketer who's coming up board, right? Should they not do it? Or do you want to give them a word of wisdom? Just wondering. What would
I think I love it. I mean, I always tell, friends are like people, like I said, my students that I lectured to, I said, it's the best industry ever, because it's like, there's so much business out there and it doesn't take a lot to start. So you can actually be Google certified. I'm glad I'm ending with this too.
Yeah.
You can be Google certified for free. All the information is publicly available, where if you're actually interested in becoming a Google partner and having the credibility to get clients yourself, if you go to partners.google.com, so like partners, PART,
we can see it behind you.
Yeah, behind
we can see it behind you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Partners. So partners.google.com, and then so if you go and you can actually, they have all of the content on there. I'd say if you're diligent about learning, if you spend 2 hours a day, for let's say a month or so, you could most likely get certified pass. There's 2 tests that you have to pass, and then you can be certified and be a Google partner, and then you can add $150 ad vouchers to any new account that you create. So there's ways to play around with it. I'm happy to, be a mentor to anyone who's interested as well.
What do you mean by ad vouchers? What does that mean?
So that's just free Google Ads credit.
Yeah.
So basically so let's say if you spend $150 if you have a new account, Google will match that up to $150. So you essentially play with Google's money while you're starting your account out. So if you spend $150, you get $150 free.
Oh, interesting.
With that too, and you can set up accounts yourself and manage it. You don't necessarily even have to run a budget. But yeah, I definitely agree that anyone who's even remotely interested in starting an agency should, especially right now. There's so much business to go around, and there's a lot, there's a lot in terms of digital marketing, but focus on what you enjoy. So, I mean, you could even run solely a social media agency where all you do is manage, Facebook ads and Facebook pages, and whether you have a content writer that you hire or you do it yourself. I mean, that's the easiest way where, there's so much business to go around that, I could even send business right away if that's someone has a passion into that. Or else, if you want to just have solely like a web design agency, I have 2 friends that own just solely design agencies that they don't really focus on SEO or the advertising side.
Yeah.
I think they're leaving money on the table, but it's just really what your passion is. There's so much business to go around right now, and even in a recession, people are still going to need to advertise, and those businesses that continue to advertise during a recession are the ones that are going to be around for the longest. And so
they can survive recession. They can survive anything, right? So.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. No, and I'm excited now that the pandemic is pretty much officially over now. It's nice to be able to go out and network too, and there's a lot of people that are hungry and ready to get more aggressive, where I've actually turned down quite a bit of business myself because it's like I don't want to overwhelm myself. I just have a new 8-month-old son that trying to spend time with him and travel a little bit this summer and go to Europe, and so it's nice to be able to work wherever, not have a boss, and just really help people grow. And it's an industry that is going to have a need for many, many years to come, I think, even though Google and Bing and Facebook are trying to automate things a little bit more. I just think you have to kind of play with the cards that you're dealt and find creative ways to think outside the box and do things that other advertisers and other agencies are not.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, Google's never going away. Ads are never going to go away.
Yeah,
always going to have them.
But you never know, though, right? They make it decentralized. You don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
And then you just gotta adapt. That's all you
there
can
we
do.
Go. All right, so we're gonna.
Maybe I'm the new Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah,
there we go. He's making a claim right now. So we're gonna end this episode with our famous rant, and pretty much you're gonna just vent out what do you want. Do something you want to get off your chest. If you have something, share it. So we're gonna kick it off with Jeremy. What do you have? You have anything you want to vent?
So I'm a pretty peaceful and chill guy, if you know me. So I don't really get pissed off too easy. But what really grinds my gears?
Shotgun to me beers.
No more of that. No, but I think Lyft and Uber are really kind of pissing me off lately, and same with like the Uber Eats too. Is just like
why
their prices have like really not only skyrocketed, but like they are treating the drivers. I went on a bachelor party trip the other day and in Cape Cod, and then I took some Ubers in Orlando as well too, and Lyft as well, and like the prices have gone up over double what they're used to too, and it's like I don't know if cabs are gonna actually have to come back, but like my friend was just mentioning in Vegas, he mentioned that all the Ubers and Lyfts, they basically went on strike because like they cut their pay so much, and even though the rides have gone up in price, it says no one really wants to even drive Uber and Lyft anymore because they're like being greedy. And it's the same thing with like them advertising. I remember back in the heat of the pandemic, they were advertising, and they actually it was during the Super Bowl. I think it was Uber Eats or one of those. They had all these celebrities, and they spent probably $3 million in a commercial, basically talking about how they are, basically helping restaurants stay open and things like that. Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, dude, you spent $3 million, and then you're taking 50% of what they were 20, whatever.
More than that,
so high number.
The driver gets, I believe, only a certain fee plus 10% of whatever the price is. That's it. They don't get that much for drivers. They really don't get that much for the Uber Eats.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying just for just a lot of the restaurants on that are on those Uber Eats and stuff too. They've it's not like they gave them a discount or anything like that. It's not like it's not like they said, okay, restaurants are struggling right now. This week or this month, we're gonna waive all of the fees to our restaurants. They never did that.
They never did that shit. Oh, that's how they make money. The 20% gap. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not only that, they probably added
more. And they overcharge on every item on every restaurant. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, And then I just think now it's like with Uber and Lyft are like really just. It was a $240 ride that I took. It was just like a normal Uber back from like Cape Cod to like 40 minutes away, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I didn't expect it, but it was like, I took even like a.
Did you contend
a
that?
10-minute ride.
Did you challenge that?
No. I mean, because like Lyft was the same price too.
How can you challenge
So
it?
it's like,
I mean, you say, hey, this
I'm
is
like, what are you
ridiculous.
gonna do?
I mean, you took the Uber. You could have canceled it.
I needed to get
So
there. I
like,
needed
there's
to
no
not miss my flight.
contending it.
So
Like,
here's the thing. I mean, I think they don't realize that their people is their asset. Guess what? If no one's driving, they're fucked.
and I think a lot of the there was like there wasn't as many drivers during the pandemic as
Correct, because of unemployment. The unemployment was people were making more money during unemployment.
People were getting more money from unemployment than they would just like driving. So there was like there wasn't as many drivers, so prices went up, and I don't think that they've come down at all. I don't know if they've even had like their drivers come back yet.
So in Florida, especially because I've seen this in Florida a lot, where a lot of first of all, the Florida people were not getting paid that much already, so therefore their unemployment was getting. They rather do unemployment than just work 40 hours Uber driving, for picking people at airports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I struggled finding Ubers literally in Florida, and if I did find an Uber, it's like $50,
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that you're right. I think corporate did try to steal more money from the drivers. And guess what? If everybody fucking does a national strike just for one day, it can show the impact on how much they can hurt the business. If no one driven for one day, you can see the drop down of the revenue.
Is the price of Uber still cheaper than a taxi though?
Yes.
That's what. Not necessarily though. Like my friend, he went to Vegas. He said like you couldn't even get Ubers because they were like.
Vegas is a different story though. I think this is very per city though. I think most places.
Yeah, true.
So.
He said he had to take cabs everywhere because they were like a third of the price, and like I don't know. So it's like weird how like it's transitioning back to cabs now a little bit.
Well, Vegas cabs is everywhere. You can just go to a hotel and they're always waiting for you right there.
Yeah,
right?
there's a line.
There's a line out there though. Where try to do that in Florida. Good luck. Unless you're in Disney, you're not gonna see a cab anywhere.
That's true, but you can always call a cab the same way.
Yeah, but
call it Uber.
It still takes 30 minutes though. Call cabs.
But Uber doesn't Uber's just long sometimes.
Yeah, I guess.
No. That's just complaining just to complain. I'm a pretty.
No, I think you're right. I remember. Okay, so a little background. I used to drive for Uber when it started. Right, I made bank in Gainesville. Let me tell you. I remember every football game I drove for 2-3 hours before and after football games, and I make $600, something like that, something stupid. And my girlfriend at that time, she was bartending that night. She made half of that in 4 hours, right? And she was mad at me because of that, And so,
but maybe you were overpaid at the beginning.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Because there's so many surges, right? Back in the day, the surge was like times 7, times 8, And so, and keep this in mind, probably at the beginning, Uber would just want to get popularity. So to get more drivers and to get more riders, right? So where there's more drivers, the better it is for everybody else, right? And so. Well, you're right, but I did that for like literally almost 2 years when I had the time, and it was pretty much. And then not only that, I get expenses, everything in my car, from. So it's nice. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, Mike, what's your rant? You have a rant today?
My rant? Oh man! All right, so my rant's about a little bit about basketball. All right.
Oh, basketball. Okay.
Well, yeah, who won the Nets game? Did the Nets win or no? Bucks?
That's tonight.
Yeah, Nets versus Bucks.
I think Bucks probably won it, but the Bucks wasn't more than the Nets.
No, Nets won.
Oh Harden. No way! Nets won.
Did KD show up? Did KD show up with 50 points?
Let's see. Who? He had 49 points.
And a triple double probably. Oh my god.
Harden only had 5 points.
KD showed. Wait, Harden play? I thought he was
Harden 5 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. But KD had 49 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists.
He showed up.
he blew up.
KD
jeez.
showed
That's
up.
a huge triple double.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at halftime, the Bucks were crushing them. Like
Yeah,
pretty
that's
much
crazy.
Yeah.
them.
So KD
No,
was
that's where I
turned on.
stopped watching. It was they were up by 16 at half. That's why I was like
Yeah, it's
surprised
over.
that they won.
All right.
What's
So
your rant?
going back to my rant. Okay. So I don't like how the new schedule just came out for the NBA, and it's kind of
For
like
next year or
for next
for
year. Yeah, for next year. Yeah. It's not even advantage. It's just it's just
who
complaining.
looks at the schedule for next year during the playoffs this year?
It's starting so
Yeah,
early.
right?
It's starting so early though. Like I'm like, why is it starting so early for these games? You know. So
So
I
what's
I don't know.
what's the issue with the schedule?
It's a little bit more compressed.
Okay.
Like there's overall. So this apparently someone did analysis of this. Like it's supposed to be more compressed, so that a lot of players are gonna complain about it more, and it's starting a little bit early. So
So it's compressed and it's early,
yeah,
and
it's
so it'll end early.
a little bit, not that much.
And
though.
then next year they'll have more time to
I
be on
guess so.
vacation.
I don't know, but my complaint about it is that I'm trying to see. But that means they're probably gonna get rid of summer league, and I like summer league a lot though. See,
Oh, you watch Summer League?
I love
I
Summer
have never
dude,
watched the Summer League.
I love watching
anything.
Summer League. So when I was working in Vegas, I just show up at Summer League game for $10 and watch the rookie and sophomore play. And there are some of the games are pretty amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was just for scouts. I didn't think that was for fans.
No,
Yeah, right.
Like the Summer League, I didn't think
it's
that
for
was for
fans.
fans at
No,
all.
it's-
Like,
it's for
I'd rather
fans.
watch the WNBA.
No. I'm telling you right now, it's not even that. It's just it's very competitive because everybody's trying to get a spot, right?
yeah,
That's true. That makes
You
sense.
know?
it's like G
like
League
college.
though. Isn't it like
It
G
is-
League? Like,
It is G League.
do
It
you
is G
like?
League.
Do you go watch G League games?
Not during regular season?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's just like it's like minor leagues.
It's also because I play fantasy basketball, so I scout my people there for rookies and stuff.
Okay, all
And I see
right.
the
So
potential.
you have
Yeah.
other. I've never even thought about watching a summer league game.
You have too
I
much
don't know.
time on your hands.
I know.
Hey, what do you do during summer, man? I miss basketball. Basketball's like my favorite sport to watch. So,
All
you know?
right, yeah.
That's true. There's not really good sports in summer.
But yeah, anyway, that's my mini rant. It's not really an event, but whatever.
Wow. Okay. I didn't even know. I didn't even know the schedules were out. All right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
and I don't
right?
even look at that. I don't ever look at the schedule. Like I never
Because
look
his
at it.
teams suck. The Orlando Magic.
Orlando
and the
Magic suck,
Miami Heat.
but the Warriors here are pretty good. So or they were.
We'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Steph is
well-
still here. As long as
Well,
Steph's
so,
here, it's fine.
the reason why I care about the schedule is because in fantasy basketball, depending on the players that draft which team, how many games they play per week, and so therefore I have a breakdown. Especially during the playoff, you want to make sure that you maximize the number of games in your playoff weeks.
Oh, okay, Mike. You say you're like following the schedule to see
Yeah.
how many games people play.
So,
Except
yeah,
when
I
I
have
play
draft.
fantasy basketball with you, you miss your deadline to like set their lineup every week, every
Not-
single week. So
Not playoff-
I don't
not
know.
play- not playoff time though. Not playoff time.
All
you
right,
know?
maybe
So,
their
but
plan is
because
different.
it does affect the players you draft though, because you
Yeah.
don't draft players for that team. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
funny.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So, all right. I don't know. My rant is because we have a advertiser on here today. Like, I was sick and tired of these like clickbaity ads that come on. Like there's like and all these like articles that are like, oh, 10 things about the Orlando Magic you didn't know. Number 7 will surprise you. I hate that shit. Like every single one of them. I hate all of those. That's just my rant.
You know what's crazy too is like they're like I saw a meme about that. It's like, you know, you wonder how all these you know, people get hacked and they think it's like some elaborate like hacker of like, you know, basically figuring out your passwords based on like quantum physics or like
Yeah.
it's just like it's so in depth, but it's really all of these like, you know, quizzes, you know, that people are answering. Like, what's your pet's name, and like, you know, which Pokemon do you like? And like, this is like they like kind of compile all your personal answers and together, and that's how they find your passwords.
Oh
It's
my
like,
god.
all those.
It's also
No,
a
I mean,
little bit of social engineering as well. Sometimes you never know, right?
Yeah,
So.
it's true.
that's why I hate like even going on Facebook anymore too. It's like it's just so crowded with all that crap, and you know, it's like fake
It's-
news and bullshit, and
Yeah, that's
hard.
true. except that Instagram ads are like the best ads I've ever seen in my life, and they're always I click on them every time just because they're like so interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's also my rant.
You're
It's
my
like,
ideal.
it's too good.
You're my ideal target audience.
It's like if they're too good. That's what it is.
You can't help yourself but clicking my ad.
Yeah, but some of those they're very intriguing when you look at them, and yeah, I don't know. Instagram just knows what I like. That's what it is.
Well, they're doing a good job.
Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah.
You're easily targeted. You're you know.
I actually
You're
believe it or
bad,
not. I believe it or not, TikTok's been targeting ads really well too. So, yeah. I can't complain about it. I clicked it one or two twice. You know, it made me curious. So, all right. Well, listen, Jeremy, thank you for hopping on and thank you for sharing your knowledge, man. And we went more in depth than expected, but obviously, you know, you at the end of the day, you know, you're about giving back value, right? And so, and obviously, you know your stuff, and we appreciate you hopping on for sharing. You know, and we like to plug anything in before we help out where people can find you. LinkedIn, you have a website.
Yeah, so you can just message me on you know, Facebook, or I guess on LinkedIn. It's in the link.
It'll all be in the details below. Yep.
Or else shoot me an email, Jeremy, Jeremy, @masteradwords.com. Or else my cell, I'm happy to give that out to 952-393-3536.
They're gonna prank call you now, man.
Wow, you're gonna put your phone number out into the internet. Wow.
Put it out in the world.
Yeah.
When this blows up and thousands of views, I might regret that.
Yeah, you have to change your phone numbers soon.
It's probably a Google number that he has, you know.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we appreciate you having you on, though. So
yeah,
for those.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, for those who are listening to us and Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, anything like that, please, you know, leave a review, comment, you know, and if you want to share your idea, you know, your experience in digital marketing, or you want to come on, even talk to the podcast, let us know, you know. So
yeah, leave us some comments, leave us some ratings, smash that like button if you're on YouTube.
Yep.
And subscribe to our channel. And for anybody who wants to watch any of our other podcasts, they're all on our website, www.gfotoughts.com.
Well, Jeremy, thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate everybody. Thanks for listening. Until next time, take it easy.
Thank you, guys.
Peace. See you guys.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Gluten-Free Organic Thoughts podcast. As always, we appreciate you. If you are watching us on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this episode, and leave us a comment. If you are listening to us, please leave us your honest review on your preferred podcast listening platform. And as always, you can find us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GFOThoughts. Drop a comment and give us some feedback. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, see you then.